This is honestly a pretty bad spot. I wanted to get away from people, but there's so many things that are keeping me from casting non-awkwardly. And then there's all these rocks here to get caught on, and then there's this weird mesh kind of material, and it's really easy to get your hook stuck on it. And then there's a fence there, so it's a really weird spot. I mean, I'm going through this little tunnel here, and it's just not a good idea. I don't think I might move. Just happy I'm wearing these. The little snake just went by me. I wish I got my phone out sooner. I couldn't see what kind it was. If it shows up in the video at all, someone let me know in the comments. Well, the wind just blew my phone over and it went face first on all these rocks here. But luckily, and I never used one of these before, it's like first time I ever used one, the screen protectors over the top of it, and it cracked that. I don't know if you can see, pretty good. This rock went right to that. That would have been the iPhone glass, and that would have been terrible. So it's a terrible fishing spot, so I'm gonna just continue to fish without filming, and then I'll make the rest of the video back at the campsite. I got a campsite here and it's got a tent pad and everything, but I'm gonna put this guy in my truck bed tonight, and I'm gonna try to do a truck bed camping. Well, it was supposed to be under the stars, but that's gonna be a little tough. I might get a little sneak peek right through there though. But yeah, so this is the Kelty late start, and this is the one-person one. So I'm gonna go ahead and just throw that in the truck bed there. It does come with the rain cover, of course, but I don't think it's gonna rain tonight. I'll have it on standby, but I should be fine. Seems to fit fine. It's just got a little tail off here, so this bed door's got to be open here. That's not a problem for me. It's not like a hard shelled truck bed camping thing that's a little too long and I have to always have that open. So I mean, I don't mind at all. But I'm gonna go ahead and get the inner parts thrown in there. I'm gonna use some of the components of my bug out bag here. I'm gonna combine just fun camping items and, you know, stuff from the inch bag, which is more for like long term. I'll probably pitch that tent too, just to air it out. It's probably, I think it's got a little musky smell to it. But yeah, in here is the bug out bag, so I'm not obviously going to use the poncho or anything like that, but I am going to use the whoopee, and the military whoopee is going to be my blanket, and I'll combine that with the wool blanket in here. I probably won't need the wool blanket tonight, but I'm going to just have it on the side just in case. And I can't do this one hand, so I'm going to stop it here. All right, so I got a military style foam pad down on the ground here, as well as a plastic ground sheet under the tent, because this truck plastic is just brutal. Like, my knees were just shredded going on that. So I think this seems like enough, but then I have the inflatable pad on here too. So the Fox Outfitters is what I'm using, the Ultralight 100. It's self-inflating when you unscrew that. It also has some kind of foamy sealing material inside, so it's a hybrid of air and that. It does self-inflate a little bit, but I find I have to kind of blow air into that part. But between these two, I should be not feeling that firmness beneath me. And then military whoopee. So this is what they would use and wrap the poncho around. This would tie into the grommets of the poncho, and then you would have that kind of Ranger burrito thing where you're waterproof. Obviously not using the poncho for that. Poncho also could be used as shelter, not just tied to this. So this should be more than sufficient tonight. It's 77 right now, and I am just sweating. But just in case there's a huge drop, I do have the wool blanket, and so this is, I think Ectos is the brand of that. So this is 100% wool, so I can wrap myself up in that on top of this as well, and that should be good enough for me. All right, there it is, all set up for me tonight. Looks pretty good. You're asking why I don't have a sleeping bag. After years of doing this, I have found that sleeping bags are really just super constrictive. The only time I use one is in super freezing weather, and I hate it. It's just like when you have campsites or you're doing backcountry camping, you just feel so constricted. With this, if any sort of wildlife situation happens, I just flip the blanket off and just unzip and come out. To get out of the sleeping bag and to have to go through all that and then unzip, and just the feeling of vulnerability inside, it's just not worth it for me anymore. I like having these kind of old pioneer ways with the wool blanket and all that, unless of course it's really cold weather, then I sort of need that synthetic. Well, actually my sleeping bag's down, so. But another thing is that wool can get wet, still hold its insulative value pretty good, be pretty spark proof from the fire, and the down feathers are not. One thing I hate about North Carolina camping is these campsites always have what they call tent pads. It's just a block of wood and a bunch of hard, extremely uncomfortable gravel, and you can't get any stakes in the ground. It's rock solid, so you end up destroying all your stakes, and I'm not sure what you're supposed to do during the wind and rain. So I mean, look at it. This is a destroyed stake. Good grief. Every other place I've camped, it's a flat dirt place. That's where you camp. It's not that hard. Even if you go primitive camping or dispersed, you just go right there on the flatness. I don't know what the need is for all this, but anyway. Here is actually did not finish setting it up before recording here, but this is a field and stream tent, and I'm only putting it up because I want to get the tent aired out. I have a trip in Georgia, camping trip next month, and I'm going to use this tent because it's going to be like a really mainstream kind of thing, and I just want to have a nice comfortable one. I mean, we got bug out and winter and military, this and that and the other thing, and sometimes you just want to camp, you know. So this is a 3-person. It is awesome. This is my favorite tent. Like it's literally like a $40 tent. Well, now with schminflation, I think it's like 60 last time I checked. Also, when you Google Field and Stream 3-person dome tent, it doesn't actually come up as Field and Stream anymore. It comes up as some other brand, but it's the same tent. So yeah, I can't do this with one hand, but anyway, this tent has just lasted me several years. It's cheap, it holds up. The tie downs here give it the ventilation, so it's actually mesh all around and no seam or whatever. But once you tie these guys, you have the rain protection, and then there's a little extra awning there for you. But yeah, and bathtub bottoms are my favorite. So when you see it kind of, the waterproof part kind of flip up like this, like a bathtub, that's really good in the Carolinas because it's always wet. So if you were to camp out on that stuff, like 9 times out of 10 it's wet. Also, you got creepy crawly bugs everywhere, snakes. It's just a nice protective bottom, then you don't have to worry about a whole lot, and it does go up pretty quick. Not as quick as that, but I mean, there's a little finagling you got to do, a little back bending, but it goes up pretty quick, and it's not very heavy, honestly. That's a lightweight tent. This is a little bit heavier, but not too much. Worst thing when it's hot. Second worst. Fire is gonna be the worst. But do what you gotta do. The reason I probably got all this marked off so well is because they don't want people like me reaching down for that stick there and putting their face 2 inches from that, which is obviously poison ivy. I know it's poison ivy, not because of the 3 leaves. Lots of plants have that 3 leaf and even the serrated edges, but the one branch that is longest is always that middle one. So the 2 come off the sides there attached, and then that 3rd one extends from the top. That's a dead giveaway. You guys want to know what that bottle is? It's the greatest thing ever. When you wake up in the middle of the night and you do not want to be walking through raccoons all the way to the restroom there, right in there. Oh, it's a lifesaver, especially in the winter. You're welcome. Need this for our fireside chat tonight, and this for our coffee in the morning. Don't turn the video off, it's just getting good. Stay tuned. Well, this is cool. I've never seen this before. You can cook some marshmallows by the gallows here. It looks like you light the fire and you have a little bit of a oratory kind of stage here, and then the audience sits here. Huh, pretty neat. Completely smashed my buns down and under the cooler, I think. But I only have 4 burgers anyway, so these 4 guys are doing fine. So we'll just go ahead and use those. Show you guys something funny. See that in there? Gorilla Tape. When I was camping in Big Bear, I left some nuts in my tent, and this crazy chipmunk just chewed a hole right through, chewed through the nuts in the bag and just ate them and took off. So ever since the first night I used this tent, it's been sealed up with Gorilla Tape. Shout out to Gorilla Tape. Forgot the pickles, dang it. Anyone else hate when they forget the pickles? At least I got this big, huge tomato. Just in the rock. I forgot to bring a chair, but I'm just gonna sit on this cooler. This cooler was in the dumpster area where I live, and someone just left it there. It's 50 quarts. It's supposed to keep ice for 5 days. It's pretty big, so I can sit on it for sure. But when I found it, it was like full, like someone had a party and then they just left it at the dumpster, and it was just full of nasty water. Like it was like brown water with like a bunch of empty like beer cans in it. And I think maybe like what made it brown, I'm guessing, was maybe like cigars or other things people were doing. And that, because I sprayed it out at the car wash at my place, and the bottom was, I poured some bleach in there, just like a little tiny half-gallon of it, just to fill the bottom and let it soak. But there's this nasty smell. It just stinks, and I can't get rid of it. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it or not. It's also not, doesn't seem to be keeping the food as cool as I thought. So you know, it's free, right? So I can toss it back and not call it a loss. But for now, it's going to be in my chair. A pretty good distance away from that because it is hot, but I am happy. Got my my barefoot sandals on, shorts, just way cooler than how I was dressed before, and it's cooled down a little bit. So today it started out as kind of a bust, bunch of weirdness. Let's see what happened first. First I went out there and I lost my lure. First cast, I lost my lure. And it was like the one I needed for that lake. That lake is one of the most polluted lakes in the entire country. It's just boat fuel. It's nothing but dark brown water. So you need a really bright lure, like a spinner that's really brightly colored, and I just lost it first cast. And then, as you saw in the video, this was just not an ideal place to fish anyway. And I tried a couple more times. Then there was the snake scare there, and then I went to another place that actually had fish. People were catching them, but it was like a dock, so I had, you know, they were all on the dock, so I kind of went down on the ground a really good distance off to the side, and this kid just sideways cast, and the thing just landed right next to me. Like, you know, another 2 feet and I would have been hooked by him. So I was just kind of done with fishing. And then on top of that, I had the tripod break on me. The tripod, the part that holds the phone, snapped off. So I can't use my tripod to film it. You know, I use that thing constantly too, so I'm gonna have to buy another one fast. But that thing just broke. So, and it broke like as I was leaving the house. So I couldn't film anything that I wanted to today, really. I've done a pretty decent job, I think, of it without it functioning. But and then I tried to get the piece back on, and it sort of held a little bit. It's actually doing that now. I'm afraid it's going to drop my phone, though. So prayers. And then the wind blew the tripod over, remember? And then the phone went face down and split the screen protector. Thankfully, I got that screen protector, you know, pretty recently, and it did the job. It totally kept the screen from breaking, which is great because it's a iPhone 14 and it's not insured. So that was good. But I mean, just all that kind of weird stuff happening, you know? So that's fine. This whole trip wasn't supposed to be a crazy, you know, YouTube video. I'm just having a day off. And slowing down, taking it easy, going fishing, getting a campsite, because I've been doing so much hard work on my other YouTube channel. It's actually that's not the work, isn't for the channel. It's music. I've been doing a worship album, well, one song, and that's just taken I work all day, 9 to 6, and then I went straight to the music making for hours, and I did that for like a couple months. So it's finally done. It's on iTunes, Spotify, all that stuff. And so yeah, if you are interested in it, it's Adam Prout Music. That's what I believe. That's certainly what you can Google to find stuff, but I'm just trying to think of the YouTube. Might just be Adam Prout. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I just needed some time off and to relax and just to unwind, and I haven't connected with nature in a long time, so that's that. And then I have really, really crazy stories about the last time I was out in nature when I did my winter camping. And I did kind of want to make a video for that, but it was impossible, and I'll explain why a little bit later in this. So I wanted to make a winter video camping at Linville Gorge, and it was actually a backpacking trip. It's supposed to be 3 days. If you ever been to Linville Gorge, it's actually like a treacherous terrain. It's just like a Swiss cheese grater, and you're just getting shredded through it. Ankle breaker everywhere. I actually fell within the first 5 minutes, because you descend down the mountain really fast and steep, and it's soaking wet, and we're backpacking, we're not, camping, and so we had these giant like 40-pound rucksacks on, and it was just like so top heavy. You're trying not to slip on the wet rocks, you're trying not to twist your ankle, and it was crazy. But anyway, I thought about filming it for the channel, and there's just no way I could have done it. It's too intense, and kind of like this smoke in my face right now. So the thing is, a couple of crazy things happened on that trip. One of the kids was not experienced at all. I don't think he had even ever gone backpacking or anything like that. And then the other guy is a pretty avid, like, he's a good old boy. He's a southern guy. He hunts and stuff like that. He's a mechanic and everything, but he's not a survivalist. So he's really like way younger than me too, probably in his mid-20s. And the other kid was like 19 or something. And here I am, 43 years old, going out with these guys. So they were just gung-ho the whole way. We went 10 miles a day. 10 miles a day. And we're talking terrain that's like Appalachian Trail kind of style, which is like you have to go so hard and so fast for so many hours to get 10 miles under your belt in that sort of western North Carolina mountainous terrain. And we did that, and that was stupid. I was exhausted. I way past my physical limit, and I also had like the heaviest bag on, because they had some really nice, expensive ultralight stuff, and they were actually splitting the load between their two backpacks because they were sleeping in the same tent and stuff. So I'm double their age, double the backpack weight, and I'm a survivalist, so I'm not going to do stupid things. So one of the things that was crazy was they went and tried to saw down a tree. It was like a really old, punky, spongy tree, but it was huge. I mean, huge. And they went and tried to saw it down with folding saws, by the way, which they're not made for. So they grabbed my Silky, I think it's a Gomboy, and then some, what was the other one? Some Gerber one that I had. And they were just like sawing, going at this tree. Ooh, and oh gosh. Randomly, all the smoke will just dump onto me all of a sudden, just burn my eyes out. Or a bunch of people will walk by or something. Anyway, so yeah, so they saw this tree and they get through it and it just like leans and lands on a bunch of other trees. And so it's just floating, suspended. So they start kicking it to knock it down, and like a bullet, just like that, of a Widowmaker just flies right next to my face, like 2 feet next to my face. I would have instantly died. That thing would have went through my face. I never knew Widowmakers were like that crazy. Good grief. Okay, so that was one thing. What was worse than that was the fact that for 2 nights in a row I was terrorized by some unknown animal. Ooh, fireflies, nice. And I couldn't figure out why, and then I figured it out by like the second night. When I got my winter sleeping bag, my cats so it's made of down feathers, and so I don't want it kept in the compression sack, so I have it like fluffed open and in a big giant drum liner bag, and my cats would go in there and like go to sleep inside the garbage bag with the sleeping bag. So my sleeping bag just like reeked of cat to this animal, and I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a bobcat or a rabid raccoon. And the reason I say rabid is because this thing came up to my tent and would literally hit it. It would be like, boof! And I'd be like, ah, get out of here! And the second night, I could hear this like, and I was just like, wow. And when I heard a hunter use a machine that had different animal calls on it, that was the sound of raccoons. It was like that weird sound. So I don't know if it was that or like a bobcat or what. If you guys know what it could have been, and leave it in the comments. Again, Western North Carolina, specifically Linville, and this thing was just going nuts over my tent. It did look like there was some sort of spray on the side. The next day it looked like some like spray marking. So I really don't know, but the thing would not leave me alone, and I couldn't sleep. So if you're going 10 miles a day, backpacking, winter camping, with barely any caloric intake, and not sleeping, you can imagine how hellish that is. Oh gosh. Trying to make the scene right. I just want it to look nice for you guys. And what I finally did to get it to stop bothering me every night was I took mace, not bear mace, just like regular mace on my keychain, and I sprayed this. Oh my gosh, the smoke! Come on, come on, come on. Okay, after the 500th eyeball burn, I realized it was getting dark on the video anyway, and this is just shining you guys' face. Okay, so anyway. What I did to finally get the animal to stop was I took mace off my keychain, not like bear mace, just regular mace, and I ended up like kind of spritzing the side of the tent and spritzing like the log. I was next to this giant fallen log, and you know, obviously the smell of that animal's sense of smell is so strong. That was such a huge deterrent, so it left me alone. But then I got like mace on my tent. That very tent that's in the truck bed. It's on the rain cover. So, but needless to say, I wasn't going to be able to film that whole ordeal. I'm done with this smoke, you guys.
I think I'm getting the black lung, Bob.
It's 9 p.m. It's pitch black now. bugs and the animals are out. And it's interesting when you go camping or hiking or something like that, your body's cycles and stuff just seem to line up with the light. So you start to get tired and go to bed like way earlier, and you're also like up way earlier. So I'll probably turn in about an hour. Look at these glowy little eyes, man. Look at that. Look at those eyes. Just staring. These raccoons are just coming for their nightly grub from everyone's campsite. It is time, folks, to get into this scrumptious goodness. What a view, huh? I shut the headlamp off. Look at that. All right. I wish you guys could see. I'm trying to light it up with the headlamp, but it's not working. Just the trees overhead here. That's too bad you can't see it on the phone. All right. That's so bright. If I shine it right on me, it's like, ee. There we go. This is pretty comfy. And I'm up off the ground, which I like. And this Woobie is definitely going to be enough coverage for me. But I am glad I have the wool blanket, because who knows what it's going to be like at like 6 in the morning. But I'm going to get some sleep and get up and make some breakfast and call it a wrap. All right. Good night, folks. Morning. It's about 6:30. I was gonna make coffee, but I forgot I brought this, so it's easier. I think I'm gonna give the fishing another go today. I know a spot about 5 minutes up the road that's less crowded and a lot more ideal, so check that out. This is a much better spot. Got the fishing dock all to myself here. Look at all these turtles, so cool. All right, I tried that guy, I just took it off. I'm gonna switch to this one, see how that works. My good one got lost yesterday. Don't know if I've said that enough. I don't think any of these other guys are gonna work. Number 3. So I was looking at this fishing app and it says like activity times where the fish are busy in the area that you're in, and it's 0% right now. And that's okay. I'm just doing this to relax. It's that office job. I actually work from home, but it's an office job. So I'm just stuck in a chair in front of a computer all day. And like I said, I make music after that in front of a computer all night. So it's good to get out and get some sun. Now that it's spring, I got to get back in shape and do this kind of stuff more often. But this is just so relaxing and so rejuvenating. I recommend it to anyone. We are up to 5 turtles now at this party. I do miss having the kayak, because the kayak I could just go out there, paddle all the way out into the lake, and just have free reign wherever I wanted. It's so fun just to fish right off the boat like that. But I had to sell it, and it's fine. It was too big and bulky and heavy for me. I want something eventually really lightweight, like one of those Swift canoes. Of course, that is as much as a car, so that may be a ways off. These guys have utilized every bit of this log, but they can't on this side because this boss, the smallest one of the bunch, is blocking it off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, with that, I'm gonna end this video. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day.